So I was scrolling on Facebook and I saw this, and of course I had to go to the comments because it looks legitimate to me. Yeah, it looks correct. And people saying this is an African warrior. The painting is titled African Warrior, or commonly referred to as Afro-Brazilian warrior. There's no Afro like back then. Created by Dutch artist Albert Eckert. So I said, let me look that up. He said, use Google Lens. I said, okay. I did, and I looked it up. And this is what I got. So I ended up finding this website. Turns out he did 4 portraits featuring the people he saw, or he was at least depicting, in Brazil. So here are the 4 that you see here. And I also went on Wikipedia to take a look. Okay, let's see what they say there. Here, from one of the portraits that we saw, this dark-skinned woman, she has a bunch of different names. Black woman with child, American woman with child. I saw African woman with child. So which is American or African or black? They do this to cause confusion, give you different names and all this stuff. So as far as that dude, if we go here, you see here. So before I go to that dark skinned dude, the guy painted what seems to be a cannibal woman. So I don't know. He has no proof of this. So the Caucasians are already kind of being biased as far as they're depicting the painting. So trying to make them seem like cannibals. So I'm very skeptical when I go here and I see it says African man, because he did not. I can't find anywhere where it says that he actually named these pieces. So who's giving these paintings these names? If he didn't do it, because he painted these for domestic use to put up on your wall, he didn't title these. And it reads here, these paintings are related to the area of Africa where the Dutch had conquered the greatest number of commercial contacts during the 17th century, Guinea and Angola. During this time, Dutch West India Company troops had established forts in these 2 areas of the West African coast because the Dutch needed a reliable source of black Africans for enslaved labor on their Brazilian sugar plantations. I already went over this. Why would they have to bring Africans to Brazilian plantations when you have an entire population of millions of people who've already been growing the sugar cane and who already know how to harvest it, know how to process it, know how to do all those things? Why are you bringing Africans over who can't speak the language, who don't know how to grow that stuff? Why are you doing that? We can just enslave the people here. Now people have already been lied to saying if you're dark skinned, you come from Africa, which is crazy to me because with the 54 countries that Africa has and literally hundreds, if not thousands of ethnic groups that look different depending on where you are in the whole continent, but you're going to tell me, oh, he looks African because he's dark skinned, when you got so-called light skinned or lighter brown toned people in Africa that been there, haven't mixed with nobody, at least not for a very long time. So if Africans from the entire continent can come in different shades, why are you thinking that if he's dark skinned that he comes from Africa? Does that mean the dark skinned Hindus or the East Indians, does that mean that they're African too? The dark skinned Australians, were they African too? The original people of Madagascar before they killed them off, the original people of Tasmania before they killed them off, will they come from Africa too? And if that's the case, why is it still a theory then? See, you gotta understand, these people will say anything. They'll say African man. This could be a whole American that's been here. But because this is a couple hundred years later, because he painted these in the 1600s, somebody can just turn around and just rename it. We already have people like Dane Calloway and other people on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok that have shown proof that they are changing the names. They're deleting or taking down images from back in the past that's showing proof. So I don't know how you people just believe whatever the government or these beasts say. This is what they do. They lie. So we look at here the black woman with child. Now, why didn't they call her African? They call her. Why didn't you just say African? You say this is the African man. This is a black woman, but they got the same dark skin tone. So why is she not an African woman? So it says here, his painting of the black woman has a figure standing against the coast with palms and a papaya tree. Amerindians are depicted fishing along the shoreline. In the image, the woman wears a hat with peacock feathers and a small white clay pipe that is tucked into the sash at her waist. The nude boy on her side is most likely her son, though the child's skin tone is several shades lighter than the woman's skin color. Tell me you don't know. Guys, how many people do you know that they got the same parents? Nobody had illegitimate children, and the children are all different shades. So that's kind of ridiculous, ignorant comment, but there are a lot of... Yeah, you don't say. that's how genetics can work. If you didn't know. And then they got the mulattoes down here and all that good stuff. So this guy, how do we know he's an African? Because somebody later on says so. All Eckhout did was paint what he saw. Most of the time, before he, sometimes he added shit like this to try to make them look like cannibals. But he painted what he saw. He didn't title these. So how are you gonna say that this is an African man? Because he's dark. How come she's not an African woman then? Just because you say so? This shit doesn't make any sense. So for people talking about, oh, just go look it up. What? They changed the shit. They'll confuse you. American woman, black woman with child. So this is an American woman, but this is an African man. They got the same. You see it, right? So what is that based on? With these humans, I think it's just based off whatever they feel like it. So if they say, oh, this person's African, it's just whatever they say. Y'all gotta realize it's not based off any logical thought process or any real research done on their part. Because look at all the bullshit that Trump is already talking about taking slavery out of schools in 10, 15, 20 years. With all the schools already shutting down or getting shot up. In the next couple years, they're going to be saying, hey, you guys immigrated here on your own and we helped you and we showed you how to do. They already lied about the history. You don't think they're lying to you right in front of your face, telling you that they're going to change it. And even down here, they try to provide historical context. We'll say, well, they were bringing a lot of Africans over from the Dutch. Where are the Dutch African slave ships? Every time y'all say that they were bringing in a bunch of Africans back and forth for a period of time, you need to show what is the name and location of that ship or slave boat or whatever. Where are they? Where are all these boats from all these places claiming to have brought all these Africans? So the Dutch was bringing Africans, the Spanish was bringing Africans, the European, not the Europeans, the French were bringing, the English, everybody was bringing Africans over here. And yet we can't find no boats, no nothing, no evidence. Has it ever occurred to you that they just might be lying? That the paintings that have no written title on them, they just can lie and just make it? Because if you look at this painting with no title, how would you know what this is called? How would you even know who this is? Because I can hardly find any information about the artist Albert Eckert. I can hardly find information about his background, so that raised a red flag to me too. So how are people coming to all of these conclusions based off of just a painting? When clearly these are portraits of Brazilians that he saw here. And as you can see, all kinds of different types. You know why? Because we've been had mixture. We've been had Asians and other people coming here. They just didn't start coming in mass upon the millions until later on. And some of us mixed in with them. And then you got some dark-skinned ones and mulatto ones. And some of us didn't. And they look like this. So, you gotta put your thinking caps on, man, and stop believing every single thing that you see. Like, why do y'all always think there's never some type of hidden agenda or anything? The entire infrastructure of how the world operates is dependent on you being stupid and ignorant and just believing shit. Can you please put on your thinking caps and do some critical thinking and stop believing every little thing that you see on TV, that you see in a book, or that you see online?